On weigh-in this morning, Wolfgang howls at his rivals, breezing past them to take out the Wellington Cup. We chat to Shaun McKay about his win. How much do we like a Lucy now? Robbie Patterson also joins us as his filly does it again, this time in the Desert Gold Stakes. Titicaca tells them all who's boss in the other staying feature with a strong performance to claim the Rimutaka Classic. And Wexford play their hand in the NZB Kiwi, and it's not a bad move either. Can they checkmate the field and claim the rich prize in March? Good morning to you. Welcome into your weigh-in this Sunday morning, the day after the Wellington Cup, and it was a fantastic day to end the Wellington Cup Carnival down there at Trentham yesterday. We'll bring in the team. Jayne Emily, morning to you, and Emily, morning to you. Jayne, you were there. Looked like a stunning day, both in terms of the weather, the crowd, and the horses came to play as well. Like a Lucy was brilliant.
I think we got the best day of the entire carnival in terms of both weather conditions, track conditions, and it was just really nice to have some atmosphere on track and having the crowd show up for Wellington Cup Day. It was terrific, and we've seen some really great results. Obviously, we've mentioned Like a Lucy, who was probably a highlight of yesterday, but across the whole carnival, Emily, we've seen some really good horses step out.
We have, haven't we? We were talking about that pre-show. There's just some really nice horses that we can follow heading forward. When you think of Savaglee, such an exciting Group 1 colt, Like a Lucy, who looks like a Group 1 three-year-old winner in waiting. We've had lots to unpack and enjoy in terms of the carnival, and looking forward to getting into the Wellington Cup and those other feature races today.
Yes, indeed. Well, one of those horses we might have to follow potentially all the way to the first Tuesday of November is Wolfgang, who of course took out the Wellington Cup.
Set to go, and they're racing in the Cup, and Trav absolutely dead set walked out. Wolfgang was pretty slow and going back as well, Beavertown Boy and also Celtic Echo. So into the straight, gee, they are absolutely crawling here as well. So they pick it up now, running towards the home turn, and the New Zealand canvas of innovation and sport, Wellington Cup, and it's RB the leader, and he really picks it up. He's a length and a half on Testify Me. 350 metres to go, and here's Wolfgang. Wolfgang exploded. Wolfgang has raced to the lead for Crouch and Nesting. Further back is Trav. It's Wolfgang in front though in the Wellington Cup. He's a length in front for Crouch and Nesting, and Wolfgang Joe gets a second cup. He wanted a length. Second Crouch and third was Nesting, followed by Trav.
Oh, it's unreal. I kind of had a little tear up there, but I wasn't able to ride a 30 time to meet a race, and lucky enough I've been able to train one, so it's unreal. Mum and Dad train the stallion, and they produce Wolfgang, and he's not bred to get over this sort of distance, but it just shows he's a tough horse, and that's unreal.
I tell you, they're absolute masterminds, really. Like that horse, I don't know, you could watch his run the last day in Ellerslie and you'd be thinking it was average, but look, they said he was in great form today, and when I pushed the button on him, like he ran past them and he ran through the line, so fantastic. I'm lucky enough it's my second Wellington Cup, but like Mum and Dad are here today, all the way from Ireland, so fantastic to ride a big winner in front of them.
Oh, it was really cool, you know. When we went to Aussie early in the season, he, on his third run, he was coming home real good over 2400. We started sort of planning, right, we want to get him to get over 3200 maybe here. And look, big dream. I'd love to have a go at the Melbourne Cup, but just wanted to see what he would do. We had a little bit in and outs on his runs, but we've always been confident that he's been going there. We had to ride him cold a couple of races just to teach him just to relax, and races were running slow, but he was still coming home and do nice sectionals, so we had a lot of confidence in this horse. And it was nice to come in here today as a bit of an underdog, but we had a real lot of confidence in him.
Yeah, it was a great win. Well done to the team around Wolfgang, and we can bring in one of them now, and that is of course co-trainer Shaun McKay, who trains in partnership with his dad Peter. Shaun, thanks so much for jumping on this morning. You made the trip back north last night, so good to have you to jump on the show this morning. Great scenes there post-race with you, your dad and your mum as well. What did it mean to you? If you can just elaborate on that a little bit more. Obviously there was the tear in the eye, you said you were quite emotional. What did that mean to you to have such a family affair for you to win such a big race?
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Yeah, it was a little bit emotional. I think more because he's a horse we've had a lot of time for. Dad Mum and Dad trained the stallion, and we haven't had this Group 1 with him yet, and we've been patient with him, and it's a race that we set a task for end of last year, and it's amazing to get.
Shaun, talk to me about the plan of action when you headed out for the race. What were the discussions with Joe Doyle like, and did things unfold how you anticipated? Yeah,
they did. There wasn't a whole lot of speed on paper, but we weren't going to change his tactics. We said we'll just ride him cold, and we really just wanted him to settle first time over 2 miles, and it worked out perfectly. And the way he was travelling on the corner, it was just amazing feeling when he was travelling like that. And it's good to see a horse that can drop the bit like that over that distance and have that turn of foot. So it's exciting going forward with him.
First of all, congratulations, Shaun, on the victory. Your dad said a few things yesterday about how much faith and confidence the team had in this particular horse. And if you go back and look through his preparation, there's obviously been some highs and some lows. What is it about him that gives you guys that faith?
I don't know. He's just really coming to a proper horse. Like that, when he went to Australia and come back, he's really developed. And like you say, you look at some of his form, and you think it was average run races, but some of those races weren't to suit. They were going slow, and they've sprinted, and he kind of just needs to be able to have that good tempo and the race to suit. And like Ellerslie, the start before, it looked like a poor run, but the way the dog's having a fight. Just the way he come through that race, the next start was unreal, and he just keeps getting better and better.
He's been really well handled by the team when you look at his form line. He was racing in stakes races as a 2 and 3 year old, had a couple of quiet years, and now he's been able to come out and win a Wellington Cup. And when we talk about those stakes races as a younger horse, he was running over sprint trips. So tell us a little bit about the journey with the horse.
Yeah, he's been very mixed with his runs. As a 2-year-old, we thought he was a very sharp sprinter. We thought we could get a Group 1 with him, and he come close a couple of times with in those stakes races, and then he went to a 3-year-old, and things just didn't go right with him. We had a lot of foot issues, and we kind of just been really patient with him. He's bred to only get probably a mile 2000, and the older he got, the more developed he got, and you never know until you step these horses out into those sort of distance. And from being a 2-year-old to thinking he's going to be a sprinter to now as a 6-year-old, and he's a 2,000 plus horse. So very exciting times ahead with him.
You talk about the breeding, and there's a real family connection there, isn't there, Shaun? Obviously, with your father having trained, of course, his sire in Puccini. Are there any similarities between the two horses that you've noticed?
There are now. Earlier on, this horse, he didn't cope very well with travelling. He wasn't the biggest, strongest horse. He was quite light framed, and he's starting to develop and really look like his dad now. And I didn't have too much to do with him, and Dad's saying to me he's every day he's starting to look more and more like him, and he's shown similarities to him, and he's shown that toughness that Puccini had as well.
You talk about the horses family, but what about the dynamic between yourself, of course, and your father? How does that work in terms of a job? I know if I worked with my dad, there'd be a little bit of tension. What's it like for you and the family?
Yeah, not too bad. We don't really butt heads as much. There can be times where we kind of think different paths, but no, we cope very well, and I'm very fortunate to be in this position I am. Dad's a very, very good trainer, and I've learned a lot from him the last couple of years of training.
As a family, you've certainly got something to look forward to now. I know there was talk on course yesterday and a dream of your father's to have a horse run in the Melbourne Cup, and he'd love to take this horse over to Melbourne in the spring. What does the next couple of months look like, and is that the path the team are going to plot?
Yeah, definitely. We never had in our mind that would have a horse that could potentially get to the Melbourne Cup, and the dreams are coming more and more alive. And he at this stage he will go over to Melbourne in the spring, and we also did have ideas earlier in the month, the Adelaide Cup in March. So that might not be the way he goes, but it's still in our mind. He's a horse that doesn't really like spelling too much. He thrives off racing, and we'll just see how he's going, and we will keep the Adelaide Cup in our mind, but the long-term goal will be Melbourne in the spring.
Go get those flights booked, mate. Just before we let you go, you also had another winner on the card, and Ballon d'Or, another impressive win in the 3-year-old.
Yeah, he is. He's a very progressive horse, and I think he's starting to develop into a good horse, and he's starting to get better and better as he goes. And yeah, the more racing he does, the better he's going to get.
What are the plans with him now?
We're unsure yet. We do want to take him back down for the Wellington Guineas, but we will need to give him a run in between, and we're unsure where he'll go in between, but that is our goal. And he is a very progressive horse, and we think a lot of him. So he's the same. Hopefully we can get a stakes win for not only the owners and us, for the stallion as well.
I was going to ask you about the owners. It must be nice to have a win for Britannia in Elsdon Park in those colours.
Yeah, it is. It's very good to train one for them and go out with their colours, and it was very satisfying to get a win for them on a premier day like that, and hopefully we can get a stakes winner for him, or even better, a Group 1 winner. But yeah, no, it's amazing to train for them.
Good on you, Shaun. Hey, well done for both of those wins, particularly Wolfgang with the Wellington Cup, and good luck with both of them. And we hope to see you on that first Tuesday of November at the Melbourne Cup with Wolfgang. Well done, mate.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Thank you very much for having me.
Shaun McKay there with us here on Weigh In this morning. Let's take a look at the race now in a little bit more detail. Obviously, Wolfgang from Crouch, Nest Egg and Trav. It was a very slowly run race.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack in terms of what unfolded, particularly in the first couple of furlongs of the race, where we had a lot of jockeys vying for positions. When we watched the barriers open, Trav, as we can see, is a long distance back last. Wolfgang wasn't away that quickly either, sort of settled towards the tail of the field. If we're looking at horses up in the front, a number of leaders. SVR came out of the barriers quickly, so did Non de Plume. Nereus sat outside the lead, then worked round to the lead. Arby then, of the slow tempo, worked round and took up a pacemaker's role. Crouch was up there in the early stages as well, and Testify Me rolled around. So there was a lot going on in that early part of the race, Emily.
There was, and just in terms of those favourites at the tail of the field, you can see Interpretation and Beavertown Boy just really putting pressure on each other in those early stages. And over the 3,200 metres, that can really take its toll in terms of those horses. We also had Nom de Plume. She didn't go amiss, but she had obviously a cardiac arrhythmia. She comes through the field too, which obviously has resulted in horses getting out the way and has added to that the muddling effect of the race. Here's where things begin to heat up, Jayne.
There were some really interesting moves in the race, and we've actually already seen one of the big moves already unfold, and that was Lily Sutherland on Trav. She was the first rider to make a move in the race. By taking off, it meant that Kelly could then pop off the rail and follow her. The interesting move was actually from Luke Curry, who pushed Kelly even wider on Beavertown Boy. That then meant that Wolfgang got this beautiful track into the race off the back of Beavertown Boy. He then peeled out. He was the widest runner at the top of the straight and obviously showed the best turn of foot. And I think that's what we're talking about in a race like the one we saw unfold, because it was run at such a slow tempo. And look, that's just visually. Obviously, we don't have the sectionals right at this point in time to back it up, but visually, it looked like a pretty sedate tempo. And I guess it was the turn of foot of Wolfgang's that won him the race. Obviously, a little bit to come out of what we saw unfold. Non de plume, you mentioned cardiac arrhythmia, and I think we have heard through that she has now been retired. Trav is now required to trial again before he can return to the race.
Run.
Huge run. Massive run, probably one of the runs of the race. Interpretation, Luke Curry said he was just a little bit dour and probably required a much more stronger tempo for him to see, for us to see the best out of him. I think he'll now go to an Avondale Cup onto an Auckland Cup. But I think it's going to be a really hard race, Emily, in terms of going forward because of how muddling run it was early. It really didn't suit a lot of key runners. Horses, you know, like Nereus, like Testify Me, they really didn't get a run that suited their pattern of racing.
Yeah, and that makes it so hard as a form race, doesn't it, heading forward. Special mention to Joe Doyle. Obviously we talked to Shaun McKay, but he, of course, that's his second Wellington Cup, and importantly for him, his mum and dad were on course. They'd come all the way over from Ireland, and you could see the delight on his face to have secured a big win whilst they're in the country. So I think that's a really special moment for him. But yeah, muddling race with a slow tempo. It's going to be one of those races you're going to have to sort of take with a pinch of salt and move forward to some of those staying races.
I guess it does get a bit frustrating. We will talk about the Titicaca Classic, and that was actually run at a decent tempo, so that was really nice to watch. But we have seen so many staying races in recent times run at such slow tempos, and then you get an anomaly like the race at Ellerslie with Son of Sons that was run 13 lengths faster than standard. So we're either one way or the other. It would just be really nice to get some genuine sort of tempo in our staying races.
Are we seeing more races run at a slower tempo, or does it just feel like it? It feels like we're talking a lot about races being run at a slow tempo at the moment.
Well, I guess it's what we can only react off what we're seeing in terms of the races that are being run. But look, at the end of the day, in sprint races, it doesn't bother me quite as much as it does in staying races. The whole purpose of the staying race is for the best stayer to win. When it's a sit and sprint, often it's the horse with the best turn of foot that wins, not necessarily the horse that is the best stayer. If you want the best stayers to be winning your staying races, they have to be run with tempo. You've only got to look at what they do in Europe, Emily, in terms of pacemakers. And I'm not saying we need to send pacemakers out in races, but they provide pacemakers so that they get genuine tempo in their staying races.
Yeah, exactly right. And then that sets it up, doesn't it, for the best horse to win. We just don't have that. And I guess being brave enough to use your stayer to your advantage by setting a good tempo that the rest of the field can't get to you because you are on the best stayer. But sometimes you just don't have the horse to lead, or you know, you might say, why didn't they go around and put more speed into the race? You just don't have the horse to be able to do that, and that'll cost your chances as well.
We actually saw a few jockeys do that yesterday though, in the Wellington Cup. They made moves because they weren't happy with their position more than anything. They were trapped out wide on a slow tempo, so they made a move. But they'd then go to the front and slow up the speed again. So, you know, it sort of negates the move in the first place.
Yeah.
Alrighty, let's get to the beaten jocks out of the Wellington Cup, starting with Tina Kominyagi on Crouch.
He won a super race. I was very happy with him.
I thought a great run, great turnaround in form from the horse. Look, obviously he loves the trip. Pace didn't really suit early on. They went very slow and he pulled a bit, so it was not like him. And that's why he flattened out the last 100. But a courageous run, he probably would never have won. Could have probably got up for second, but great turnaround in form.
We lost a bit at the start, quite a bit actually, and he's sort of got in a really nice rhythm, really good staying rhythm. And when they slowed up, he's just made his way around them and stuck on really, really well.
Did it cost you the win?
Well, he missed it by more than he got beaten by, but I'm not sure. He went okay. He got knocked around a little bit in the running, probably took a little bit of sting out of him, and it was a little bit stop-starty, and he was sort of there on the turn with the winner, but just whacked away a little bit.
Yeah, so that was the Wellington Cup. Wolfgang from Crouch, Nest Egg and Trav. We're going to take a break here on Weigh In. On the other side, we talk about probably the highlight of the day yesterday, and that was the win of Leica Lucy.
Here is our favourite, the one, Leica Lucy for Robbie Patterson and Craig Grills.
Leica Lucy, she's got a lot of upside. You happy with the way she's gone down?
Yeah, very happy with the way she's gone down. I just got to just let everyone know she's on the fresh side. She's got a long season ahead of her.
We're ready to go, set, and the fillies are away in the Desert Gold. Canelo was a bit slow, went back to last early. Favourite will just settle behind the speed. Leica Lucy, strung up in traffic, the favourite. Around the corner they come in the Desert Gold. Mirabella joined out in the centre by Stockpin. Sky Max, he's probing for a run with the favourite. She gets the split. Here comes Lucy. Wider Renovations and wider Canelo, but here's Leica Lucy. Let go really quickly. She raced to the lead. Oh, she's raced away Leica Lucy. Canelo trying hard, and then Renovations, but she's going to be too good again. Leica Lucy for the Desert Gold. One at a length on Canelo.
Watch him held up, and but when she got here like that and went bang like that, it's a sign of a good horse. And I was really concerned today. She was above herself. Around the start, and she had a week off her last one. And I ain't done a lot with her because I know how long the season is. And yeah, she's. I don't think I've had some good horses, but I think it's the best one I've had.
Wow, that's a really big statement, and obviously for what's in front of it, just nice to be doing that, especially off a soft preparation, right?
Exactly. Well, I've got to be wary. I've seen it too often. You go too hard too early, like trying to win all the races, but I want to win the Oaks again, and I think I've got the right horse for it.
Before the race, she was actually really worked up today. The other day she was a bit of a lamb, so I was a little bit worried, but as soon as she came out, she just dropped a bit and relaxed beautifully. So they sort of really bunched up tuning in, and I didn't have a lot of options, a lot of way to go, but good horses get you out of trouble. Yeah. Little gap opened up on the inside, and she's done the rest.
Oh, she was so good. Leica Lucy from Canelo, Renovations and Royal Sovereigns, and we're very lucky to be joined on weigh-in this morning by Leica Lucy's trainer in Robbie Patterson, and he's done God's work again by getting her behind him. She's looking fantastic this morning, Robbie. You made a pretty big call yesterday that you thought or you think she's the best you've ever trained, aside from the obvious of how she's won her 2 previous races. What is it about her that makes her so good?
Yeah, good morning, guys. Yeah, it's just not what she does on the track that's going to stand by her. It's what she does here. She's super relaxed. She just loves that feed bin, loves that hay rack there, and yeah, she just won out of the box.
Robbie, talk me through the race, because you must have had a few nervous moments at the top of the straight, because she was blocked for a run momentarily before we saw Craig sort of dive down to the rail and push his way through.
Yeah, I was pretty nervous, right, because the TV I was watching was about 3 seconds behind, and then I'm listening to the commentator and watching the TV, and next minute she exploded away. So, you know, like to duck in like that, to get on your tired leg and sprint away like that is a sign of a horse with a good turn of foot. And yeah, but I had the right man on board as well, and he's pretty cool, calm, collected. So yeah, he got the job done.
Robbie, what do you do from here with her? Because you spoke yesterday in depth about the fact that you don't want to burn too much gas before you get to that final goal at the end of the season. What's the plan with her from here in terms of training and, of course, her races?
Yeah, we're going to take her out to the farm today for a few days off, and then I'll probably look at the race at Tarapa, but I said yesterday I won't go there if they present the track as hard as I did the other day. I don't want to hurt her. And then there was stuff getting thrown around yesterday about maybe potential in that slot race, which could be a bit tricky because that's March the 8th going into the Oaks. So, yeah, there's a lot to weigh up at the moment, but at the moment I just want to get her in the paddock and keep her happy.
I guess the question from us, we were obviously aware of some of that information that was circling yesterday around an NZB Kiwi slot. Is it serious consideration on your behalf? Because I know that you had a plan dedicated to getting her to the Oaks. Does that now mean that those plans are a little bit up in the air?
Yeah, personally, I just want to do what's right for the horse, and I think the Oaks is the right path for the horse. She's a stayed filly, very relaxed filly. We go to Ellerslie. I've got to train her different. I've got to sort of zoop her up a bit because it'll be a high-pressure race. First time around Ellerslie, yeah, it just doesn't sit well with me, but at the final decision's up to the owners. They do the paying, they do the same. So we'll be having a drink over the wind today, and then probably nutting in a few things start of the week.
Yeah, look forward to hearing what you decide. Obviously, I guess she's bred and raced by breeders that will hopefully be looking for that Group 1 tag with her. What I thought was really interesting yesterday were some comments that Craig Grills made about her and the fact that she was just a little bit bouncy and got herself a bit warm, and she was on the fresh side. I did see her pre-Christmas, and one thing that was really evident is that she's a filly that's really thriving through her preparation. I thought that she looked like she was carrying more condition and even strengthened a little bit going into the race. Is that what you've taken from what you've seen from her and her development this time round?
Yeah, totally. She'd thrived, unbelievably well from her last race. I gave her a week in the paddock, and she done super, and then and she's just continually done super up until yesterday's race. And it wasn't her fault; she was above herself. Yesterday it was my fault. I left her too fresh. I should have. I was toying up with giving her a jump out during the week at Stratford, but I was just worried about the track being too hard. But it actually wasn't too bad. So I probably could have given her a quiet one just to take the edge off her a little bit. So that was just trainer error while she was so hot yesterday, but I won't make that mistake again.
Talk to me about the owners, Robbie, and what they give to the stable and how it's been working with them through this process with such a lovely progressive horse.
Pete and Heather are amazing. They don't interfere at all. They just, they said yesterday we've got a lot to discuss about. They said the decision's up to you, really, but going forward, they're fantastic. They've got another lovely horse here that won at the trials on Tuesday, a horse called Maloney, which will be probably just about winning first up. And I've had a lot of horses for them over the years. They won a derby with Habibi. It was actually a funny story. They had 3 in the paddock, and I broke them all in. And we one had to go to Donna Logan. They owed her a favour, and we went in there in any, mini, money, mo, and Habibi was one that had gone. I thought, thank God for that. She was just fat, unathletic-looking thing. I thought, beauty. And crikey, she was a derby winner.
That was a really good eeny, meeny, miny, mo. They most definitely would have been happy about that. Whilst we're talking about the Oaks, it did remind me about a horse that was super exciting at the start of the season, heading towards the Derby, and read about it. Is this horse still on that path?
No, he's not. Emily, no, he got after he won the Wellington Guineas. He got a throat infection, which we've been fighting with. I'm hoping we're on top of it, but he's still out in the paddock, and I've missed the Derby now, so that's why I've left him in the paddock, and hopefully I can get him back in with the next 2 or 3 weeks and aim towards the Queensland Derby.
I just want to, just before I let you go, pick up on something you said at the start. So you're not a person who watches the races on the track. You still like to watch it on TV, even if you're there? Yeah,
you can see so much more on the TV. But it's just that time delay sort of bug you up a little bit. But I like to see what's happening down the back straight and everything. That's where you win races, when they're relaxed. You can see them relaxed and whatnot. Yeah, nice. And just before we let you go, she's obviously well. We can see her behind you. You'll be giving her a pat, no doubt, but she's obviously come through the race well, and everything's good with her. Yeah, no, she licked the bowl last night, which is unbelievable because it's a big day for us. It's 10 hours driving. We never got home to midnight, and I got her first thing this morning, and she'd licked the bowl, so it was fantastic. But no, she's going to go in the paddock now and for a couple of days and enjoy the Taranaki sun, and I want to go and enjoy some fishing. Yeah, you go and enjoy that, and maybe a beer or two perhaps as well. What a great job you've done. Well done, Robbie, and thanks so much for jumping on this morning. No, thanks very much, guys. Good on you. Robbie Patterson there, of course, the trainer of Leica Lucy. Let's take a look at how the race unfolded. She was $1.50, I think she was, at the jump, the red-hot favourite. I wouldn't say got into a sticky position as such, but there might have been a few hairy moments there, but once she got going, she was home and hosed.
It was actually quite a comfortable position to start with. I mean, she had a lovely spot where she's just sort of one off the rail, and it was just when they turned in that there was a wall of horses, and we saw Craig Grills make that dive to the inside. But at this point, she's off the rail, she's in behind the speed in a nice position, ready to strike.
I think Craig made the comment that good horses get you out of sticky situations, and all it really required from him was a little bit of patience, and he showed that. He actually gave her a lovely run in transit. He had a nice position. He was on a horse that relaxed beautifully. It was really interesting at the 400 metres. She actually got up travelling on the bit. You could see she wanted to accelerate and put herself in the race, but she actually had nowhere to go. So, for Craig, I guess he just had to bide his time till he could see a little bit of a sort of movement in those horses in front of him. He was on the best horse in the race. He basically rode her like the best horse in the race. He was patient. When she got the split, she actually accelerated through brilliantly. The runner-up, Canelo, I think there was a lot of merit in her run. She sort of blundered a little bit at the start and sort of got a long way out of her ground, and I thought she flew late, and Royal Sovereigns for a lightly tried horse was another one that made up some really nice ground from the tail of the field. So I thought there was some promising runs from some nice fillies going forward in terms of an Oaks. What I really liked about our chat with Robbie Emily is the statement that he made of, I'm going to put my horse first. And I think ultimately, yes, his owners are going to pay the bills and they may make the decision around you know, whether she goes to an NZB Kiwi or whether she goes to the Oaks, but it genuinely sounds like Robbie himself would like her to follow the path that he set, the path that she's been on since the beginning of the preparation and run in Oaks, and I genuinely think that that's the right decision for a horse like this.
I do too, and from their perspective, they know that she handles Trentham because she's done her best racing there. It's $1 million. It's not sort of a lesser thing. You get a Group 1 as well on your CV, which is so important for these fillies. So I think in terms of her sticking to that path, there are a lot of positives. Yes, the money is dangling and the new feature innovation race and the phone will be ringing and it's very complimentary, but I think I'm hoping for them that they stick to their guns, they stick to what they mapped out, because it is absolutely her race for the taking.
And I think, again, when you've got Group 1s like we do in New Zealand that are sitting on warnings in terms of their status, we need to be having our best horses running in these races, and the figures that she's putting up and her rating suggests that she is very smart, and we've heard from Robbie who's come out and said I think she's better than Legs. So if she can go on and run in an Oaks and win an Oaks and then even perhaps go to Australia and then back up that form in Australia, it does wonders for a race like the Oaks, which is sitting on a warning. So I know that's not Robbie's problem, but I think it would be great to see our best staying fillies run in our best staying races.
As you saw there, Leica Lucy, $3.50 favourite for the Oaks. Canelo into 16s for that race. Let's hear from the beaten jockeys, starting with Tina Komanyagi on board Canelo.
She won a super race. She was very unlucky. She missed the kick and then I couldn't get a clear run. So to run second was a very good effort.
Doing another tough run. I think she's quite a sight in filly once she gets over a bit further. Unfortunately, Never Winner's just a very nice horse there.
Yeah, stepped up and great and run well.
Probably just had to do a bit too much work to get outside the leader, and she stuck on quite well for her first run over a mile.
Yes, so Leica Lucy from Canelo Renovations and Royal Sovereigns. On to one of the other features on the card, and that was, of course, the Rimutaka Classic, won by Titicaca.
Around the corner of the Rimutaka, the leader High Country, the entertainer with the inside run, Tyke Myson, Cinnamon joining in, he's Lucid, Chief, Kealoha, plenty of chances here, Cinnamon cuts loose, moved up and hit the lead, Tyke Myson giving it plenty of cheek, and then came High Country, and now Titicaca from a mile back is rampaging up the centre, Cinnamon in front though, Titicaca's going to dive, they hit the line, Titicaca, I reckon right on the line, big Titicaca's got up to beat Cinnamon in a photo finish.
I think old Rob was helping us along in that one because I didn't think I need my stick, so I had to give him an extra bit of voice encouragement. But the horse has come a really long way. It's come from winning a maiden 2-2 at Waverley not so long ago to winning this race today. So I mean, Adrian's an amazing horseman. He really is, and when you put these colours on, you know you're in with a big chance.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves, but a bit more to come, hopefully.
What can he do out of this?
Who knows? Adrian hasn't got a passport, but maybe we'll get that renewed, eh?
Might have been on the website this morning, I think, getting his passport renewed after that run. Titicaca from Cinnamon, Moonlight Magic and Skipper's Canyon. Huge run from the back from Titicaca and a massive run from Skipper's Canyon as well. Plenty to look at.
Yeah, there was plenty to look at. So obviously the winner sat back in the field, as you can see here. Just popped off reasonably early, Jane, to make that long sustained run. To be honest with you, I thought at this point when Cinnamon was presented at the top of the straight that it was going to pull away, it was going to blitz the field by a couple of lengths sort of at this point. And then you can just see Titicaca down the outside. You would have seen the horse in the flesh as I did at Christchurch. a big, imposing horse. You can see why he's taken so long to finish, so long to come to it, and you can imagine he's actually only going to improve the longer he gets, but just working home at this point and ends up nailing, obviously, Cinnamon on the line.
I just agree with everything you've said, Emily. He's a 5-year-old. The team have showed some real patience with him in terms of getting him to the races, and he just looks like a horse that's going to continue to get better with more time. So he's an exciting horse in the making. Cinnamon had every opportunity in the run, had the best run of the race. He was brave in the finish. He's lucid, a little bit unlucky. Perhaps maybe the story for this horse, things don't always go right for him, but he was pretty unlucky in the running. Skipper's Canyon I thought was really eye-catching, and look, Moonlight Maid, she just keeps building and extending in a race rather than accelerating, and I thought she found the line quite nicely as well. But I think it'd be really interesting to see what they do with this horse, Emily. We heard from Kelly, she said the horse has come a really long way in a short period of time. It's basically his first racing preparation. Obviously he had the build up to Riccarton, they freshened him, brought him back, and he's now won the Titicaca Classic. But he's putting together a really good record for a young racehorse, and as we've discussed, he's genuinely only going to get better. I guess they just have some decisions now whether he's a horse that needs to go to the paddock and have a break, or whether they can push on to something a little bit better. But he looks like a real Cups horse in the making.
Yeah, he sure does, and there's so many options in terms of Cups, both here in New Zealand and of course across the Tasman. Yes, the Melbourne Cup's at the top of the pile, but there's a lot of money to be won in those country Cups, and as we heard from Shaun, McKay, races like an Adelaide Cup, looking elsewhere in the States. We mention it every time Adrian Bull gets a winner, but just a wonderful horseman, a wonderful family, and him and Kelly Myers and the families have such a great relationship, and you can see what it means to Kelly when she puts on those colours, and more often than not gets success.
Absolutely. Look, it was a great day for many people yesterday, but pretty upsetting one for one of our great jockeys, and that being Lisa Allpress, who of course has just come back from a relatively long injury layoff, and now she's looking at probably an even longer one. We see she's put on Facebook this morning a story saying that she has broken her tibia in 3 places and will undergo surgery today. Just a horrific incident. Everyone behind the gates apparently heard it and was just horrified by what happened. Our best wishes to you, Lisa. You're a tough nut, but yeah, this is a tough one to take.
Yeah, just really disappointed for Lisa. As you mentioned, she's just come back from injury. So, you know, you never want to see any jockey injured on race day, and it's just really unfortunate that she's now got the task ahead of her in terms of her recovery. Just a word on the horse Hickory Jack. He's had a warning placed against him with his manners on race day, and I think he needs to go back to the trials before he's allowed back at the races, Hickory Jack. But yeah, just I think disappointing for Lisa, and I think you've said it all in terms of our thoughts are with her, and I really hope that she has a quick recovery.
Yes, very best wishes indeed to you, Lisa. That wraps up the carnival. Just before we move on from that, what are your overall thoughts about the Wellington Cup Carnival? Great day yesterday. The crowd built throughout the 3 days, and we had a good crowd yesterday. What are your overall thoughts about the 3 days?
I think, as we mentioned, Jane, at the top of the show, it attracted some really good, progressive, exciting horses that we can follow across New Zealand and even potentially across the ditch. Grail Seeker obviously is a top-line sprinter. Savaglee, a Group 1 winning colt who's bounced back exactly where he was last preparation, if not better. I guess for me, I don't know what the answer is in terms of the carnival, because what we've seen in New Zealand racing over the past little while is so much change and addition of races and changes of days, and where the Wellington Carnival sits in that, I think, is probably still to be ironed out. But the best thing is that they're, as we mentioned pre-show, they're open to change, and I think that's the first step to making sure that you get the best product.
Yeah, look, I think in terms of programming, there's a bit of work to be done in New Zealand, but I agree with everything you've said. And look, hopefully the club can work with NZTR and work out what the best options are for the carnival. But we did see some fantastic horses on display. We
certainly did. Alrighty, we've got to get you to a break here on Weigh In. On the other side, we look ahead to the Karaka Millions.
The pursuit for TAB Karaka Millions glory begins here at the one sail ring to rule them all. Every piece of this place resonates with the echoes of excellence. Karaka is where history meets the future of racing, and no one wants to miss out. The great and good of racing descend on this city, and why wouldn't they? With the best stock in the market, we roll out the red carpet to this pure piece of land with the world's best green grass. It's the colour of money, the colour of millions, which will be won right here. The fittest, fastest and toughest will strut into HQ for 6 of the best.
Shut that gate, North Kestrel has bolted in.
A race day so good the whole world is watching. It's the place to be seen, the place to be heard. An irresistible atmosphere, unmatched anywhere. It's prime time rock and roll racing, and it's ours. TAB Karaka Millions night, right here in the ultimate city of sails.
It's going to be a fantastic weekend next weekend. Although, is that your new lifestyle, Emily? Super yachts and travelling around?
It's just how I spend my weeks, Guy, on a super yacht one day, at Ellerslie the next day. It was a lot of fun making the promo, I must admit, but so excited for one of the biggest nights of the year that New Zealand produce. The atmosphere is always electric. We've got the perfect horses, the perfect carnival. Really looking forward to it.
Yeah, too right we are. Let's take a look back at some key races in the lead up to the Karaka Millions though. We can start with the 2-year-old from last weekend, and the winner there comes from the back of the field to Bravery Born, and what do you know, in those Tiako colours.
It was impressive, wasn't it? Really nice performance by To Bravery Born. I guess we've been looking for the Tiako out, and potentially they've waited till sort of the last 2-year-old race before the Karaka Million to produce this horse. But love the way he got back, he worked over the top of them. Seems like a pretty versatile type in terms of his racing manners, and he's done the job pretty comfortably. A perfect starting point for the Karaka Million.
4 of the last 10 Karaka Million winners have actually come out of this race on Sunday, and it's a race that Tiako have used to their advantage over that time. I think you're right, Emily. Taken back from a wide draw, he was a good closer. He ran the fastest last 4 of the race. The horse that did run the fastest last 200 was actually the stablemate and dear to Poisier, who was held up a little bit in the straight. Obviously, she won't take her place in the field, but she's a nice mature filly, so I'm looking forward to seeing what she does next. Miss Ziggy, a little bit keen, a little bit up on her toes, first time at Ellerslie. She should improve from the experience, and I thought that she was very good to finish where she did, considering she was a little bit keen in running. And Daylight Robbery, he's a really nice style of a horse, so if he can improve a little bit off the back of that, I think he makes the race really interesting too. But we have discussed how open the Karaka Million is, and I still think that it's a really open race.
Yeah, it certainly is. The other feature on the day was the Ginger Nuts Selva. This was taken out by Mustang Morgan from Golden Century and Casimiro, and then Hakkinen.
Yeah, really nice staying performance. So we're really getting into that derby time of year when the Salva is run, and you can see both the first and second horse are certainly ones that you want to note down. Mustang Morgan, obviously bred by Rayner and Lynn Bonington of Little River Thoroughbreds. They actually got their friends into the syndicate, and for them, what an exciting time they had ahead of them. I don't think the second horse, Golden Century, loses any admirers, and obviously the third and the fourth horse in that race as well, running really good races in terms of heading forward.
Yeah, the first 4 home, I think, horses you want to follow out of the race. Actually being there on Sunday, you talk about that ownership group. They had flown in from all around New Zealand to be at Ellerslie on Sunday, and the noise that they made when the horses crossed the line, they obviously get really excited about their horses and really excited about winning races. So I think the fact that they're now on a derby path, it's really exciting for them. And that's so fantastic to see at the races, that atmosphere, the excited owners, when you actually see what it means to them. So that was one race that really stood out in terms of the ownership group and how they celebrated.
I love that about racing, when owners get pumped up. We saw it yesterday at Trentham, one of the owners absolutely going for it. That was brilliant. One of the other races that we do want to take a look at is the Ellerslie 3-year-old. It was over 1,500 metres, and Checkmate took it out from Hinikaha, Yoldi, and Fun Never Sets. Turns out pretty big week for Checkmate for many reasons.
Enormous run from him. He was awkwardly away, got back in the field, but Although he did save ground going back to the inside, gee, he was explosive late, this horse. He's got a terrific turn of foot on him. Titicaca, she was good from back in the field. She just doesn't begin that well, this filly, but she ran the fastest last 600 metres of the race. She closed well. She'll appreciate further, and she certainly had some improvement in her in terms of her fitness levels. She will just continue on an upward trajectory towards a derby. Obviously, we've now heard Emily that Checkmate's not going to a derby. He's going to an NZB Kiwi. I was a little bit surprised by that decision. Obviously, he's shown a good enough turn of foot that he's well suited to a race like the NZB Kiwi, but he looks like a derby type of horse.
Yeah, he does. It's intriguing, isn't it? And I guess we'll never know because we're not going to see him in a derby. But in terms of a horse that handles Ellerslie, that has done a lot of racing there, that is got really good racing manners, they've got a really nice proposition there that fits the type of horse that they want. They have a lot of options in terms of things that have developed over this season and exciting horses in their stable. So you've got to feel that their confidence is with Checkmate.
The NZB Kiwi is starting to get a little bit interesting. I even see yesterday Bjorn Baker made a bit of a shout out on social media around a filly that he had won in Perfumist. So even the Australian trainers are keen to be bringing their 3-year-olds across for the NZB Kiwi. I've still got, how long have I got to get that right? I've got a month or so, don't I, to get that right? But yeah, look, it is shaping up to be a really nice field with interest from not just here in New Zealand.
And this is another one of those horses that has been confirmed in the slots, sought after in the Waikato stud colours. This was also last Sunday winning the 3-year-old over the 1200 metres. I think this was the second horse confirmed in a slot for Waikato stud. Not for them, but their slot, second horse in the race, and a good performance here.
Yeah, sought after is one of those that looks like over more ground is only going to get better and better. That was 1200 and has won that pretty comfortably. And I think back at the 1500 metres, and as we said, a month or so's time, sought after is going to be one of the key chances. You see Perfumist in the market there at 10s. Phone will be ringing, I'd imagine, for Bjorn Baker, because whilst it is intriguing, there aren't a lot of horses to choose from coming to this point because people are starting to make their final decisions. We're going to a Derby, we're going to an Oaks, and that is reducing the amount of horses available. There's a horse racing at Pukekohe this afternoon, of course, called Dealt With for the Roger James, Robert Wellwood team. You're looking for, unfortunately, a 3-year-old gelding potentially who is going to avoid that Derby Oaks path and target a Kiwi.
And we're seeing some good sprinting 3-year-olds too that are going to railways and to, the sprint to Iterapa over 1400 metres as opposed to an NZB Kiwi. So, we've got some really talented 3-year-olds in the country at the moment, but they're being spread over quite a number of races.
Yeah, it's a very interesting picture to play out, certainly over the next month or so. Let's take you across the ditch, and there weren't many massive races yesterday, but on Friday night we obviously saw the rerunning of the rest of the Magic Millions race card, and here is the 2-year-old won by O'Olay.
This was impressive, really impressive. When Tommy Berry got to work on O'Olay, geez, he powered away to the line. An impressive performance. There's a nice story surrounding it too, which we'll get to a little bit later on in terms of Tommy Berry and Nathan Berry. And for Bjorn Baker, if you follow Bjorn on social media, you would have watched him watching this. And I think he missed his flight up to the Gold Coast on Friday night. He watched it in the car, in the taxi, and as you would imagine in true Bjorn fashion, gave it a good cheer home.
Just to point out too, the sire of Ole Kirk, who was a dual Group 1 winner as a 3-year-old, is actually making his presence felt as a sire. We're seeing his first 2-year-olds on the track at the moment. Unfortunately, King Kirk, who did win a stakes race on debut, went a miss. He was the early favourite for the Golden Slipper. Unfortunately, he had an accident and is no longer with us. But Ole is the other filly who's won a listed race at a restricted level, but has now come out and won a Magic Millions as well. So, look, Ole Kirk definitely one making his presence felt. Bred by the team at Gilgai Farm, Ole Kirk was bred and sold by them, so was Ole, so there's some nice synergy there as well.
Here's one of the other features on the evening, Bezusto winning the 3-year-old on the Gold Coast.
Yeah, these are interesting horses that run in the Rosemont Alliance colours. It was a decision that a group of breeders made that they were going to go out and buy colts at the yearling sales as opposed to waiting for colts to win Group 1 races and then have to spend a fortune buying them as stallions. So they've gone out and they've spent a fair bit of money trying to develop horses. 900,000 I think they paid for this horse in conjunction with Annabelle Neesham. And look, he is probably one that hasn't had the best of luck in his career so far, but he's always showed a lot of promise and he's delivering on that now. A nice result for the team in terms of prize money being a $3 million race, and a nice result too for Annabelle Neesham and Rob Archibald, because I think they picked up 2 big winners on the program, so it was a nice payday for them as well.
Yeah, it certainly was. That wraps our racing over the last couple of days. We'll get you to a break. We've got some news around James McDonald and also Kelly Myers, and we get you to our moments of the week and our Weight Watchers as well on the other side of this.
Wellington is now striding up on the outside. McDonald's taking him through his gears and he looms big danger. And with 100 metres to go after the slow start, he recovers and he wins in style. Wellington brilliantly. Polyglot goes for home. He gets away from Winchester. Rantan the inside, but Polyglot is going to be that bit too good. But Tajanis kept going. 200 metres to go. Gilded Water couldn't match his spread. And Tajanis is going to stay strongly. It was a funny run race. And Tajanis is going to ease down and win. Osipenko digging in, finding the line today. It's been a J-Mac masterclass at Rosehill. I'm not happy when I try to fake it. That's why I'm easy.
Yeah, James McDonald is back from his suspension and back doing what he does, and that is winning races. I think he had 4 on the day yesterday there in Sydney, so well done to James. Great to see him back riding, and of course he won't be coming for the Karaka Millions. He's heading to Saudi Arabia as is one of our own, and Kelly Myers, that of course for the International Jockey Challenge. And here is a full page graphic of that around some of the announcements with that, and yeah, you can see James McDonald there alongside Kelly Myers as well, and Rachel King from Australia. She'll be a pretty well-known name to many. Ocean Murphy as well, so some big names heading there.
Yeah, some huge names heading there. It's Saudi Cup has really built over the years, and there's so much money on offer in terms of prize money, and great to see the Kiwis represented amongst some of the biggest names in the world. Yeah,
absolutely. And Aidan yesterday caught up with Kelly Myers to talk about her going to the International Jockeys Challenge and asked her how it all came about.
I just got an email out of the blue actually from one of the ladies that works over there asking if I was interested in competing, and I emailed back that I definitely was.
Yeah. What about that excitement levels? You know, you get to ride internationally in such a prestigious event. How much do you sort of prepare for it?
Yeah, I mean it is very exciting, and then when you look at the other jockeys that are attending, it's pretty awesome. Yeah. You know, there's some pretty big names there. So yeah, I mean, Sam Spratt's been before, and so has Lisa Allpress. So I've been able to have a little chat to them about sort of what it involves and what their thoughts were, and yeah, they were pretty low key about it. They said, you know, it's an awesome experience. As far as preparing for it, just sort of get over there and have a look around really, and you draw your horses out. So yeah, I guess it'll be like completely different from over here because 2 of the races are on dirt and 2 are on turf. You draw your horses out. And yeah, I was actually speaking with Kevin Stott the other day at the races, and he asked if I'd ridden on dirt before, and I said, no, I have not. And he said that is an experience in itself. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot to, I'll probably reach out to a couple of other people before I go over and ask for sort of any tips and advice they might have. But yeah, I guess it's just a matter of getting over there and getting amongst it.
Kelly Myers there with Aidan Rodley talking about the International Jockeys Challenge. Congratulations to you, Kelly, on getting your name put in that mix, and good luck to you over there. We wish you the very best. Alrighty, time to get on to our moments of the week now, and Jane, I'll come to you first.
I'm with Leica Lucy. I thought that she was the highlight of the program yesterday. I like the way she's been handled. She's only a very lightly tried filly. Robbie Patterson thinks she could be one of the best he's ever trained, and I just like good horses to keep winning. I think they're good for racing, so it was my moment of the week.
I looked across the ditch for my moment of the week. Tommy Berry taking out the 2-year-old Magic Millions. It was a decade since his brother won the race aboard unencumbered. He was stable jockey for Björn Baker pretty much at the time before his just such sad passing. And for Tommy to take out that race in his brother's honour for Björn, it was a really momentous and special occasion for many people who admired and had so much respect and love for Nathan.
Yeah, lovely moment that. And I'm with Leica Lucy as well. I just thought the way that she won, and she now won 2 races in a row, 2 really good races in a row in impressive fashion. And I always like really nice horses coming on the scene and proving that they are the real deal. So yeah, she was my moment of the week as well. What about our Weight Watchers? Who took your eye and is maybe a horse to follow going forward?
Well, I'll start. I went with Ever Ending. It was my horse to follow, and I just think it's a horse that's going to win a race pretty shortly. It was a 3-year-old progeny of Alamosa who took on older horses and got home really nicely. It was really lightly race type as well, so no doubt I'll take improvement from that, and I think the win is imminent.
I'm going to go back in time a little bit to Ellerslie last Sunday, and Roger James and Robert Wellwood had a horse called Schmooze Run, who is still in maiden grade. This horse should not take long to break its maiden. Awkward out of the barrier, got crowded, got back and running, and just had absolutely no luck in the home straight. When it finally saw some daylight, it dived through, and it was literally beaten 3/4 of a length. So I think it will be winning its maiden in no time at all. And I think that the James Wellwood stable certainly on an upward trajectory at the moment. They had a slow start to the season, but gee, they're building, and they've got a terrific strike rate at the moment. I like following stables in form.
And mine we've touched on a little bit earlier in Skipper's Canyon, was last for, or at least in the last pair for a long way of this race, and look at how it comes home over the last 200 metres or so. Absolutely storms home in those OTI colours down the outside into 4th there. Big run. So I'm going to follow Skipper's Canyon. So here they are, Schmooze for Jane. I'm with Skipper's Canyon and Emily with Ever Ending. That wraps things up for us on Weigh In for another week. Great to have our guests, Shaun McKay and Robbie Patterson, join us live. Thanks very much for coming in, you two. Good to see you as always. And we'll see you next weekend after, of course, the big one, the Karaka Millions. We cannot wait. Have yourselves a great week.
She's going to be too good again, like a Lucy for the Desert Gold. Titicaca's going to dive, they hit the line, Titicaca.